Hello everyone, Gaara here and welcome to a brand new deck tech video. Today I'm gonna talk about Khetoon Warrior. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Here's the deck list. As you guys can see, I decided to play double Armorsmith because I included Blood Razor. It is a card that has great synergy with the Sleep with the Fishes, a card that is very powerful against aggressive decks to take out bigger boards. And because you take so much phase damage, I decided to play the Armorsmith. Not just because of that, but also it has great synergy with the Battle Rage. And just to have like a AoE Whirlwind effect synergy deck. So the Armorsmith always felt really good or really powerful in those decks. If you guys remember back in the days during the Patron Warrior times, Armorsmith was a very staple card just to survive all the aggressive decks. And the deck is played very similar. Yes, it has the Khetoon package as a finisher. Yeah, it has great synergy with the Garrosh. The whirlwind effect, you get a lot of healing. Also later when you play the Scourgelord, you will lose your armor up hero power, so it is very nice to get a lot of healing out of the Armorsmith. On top of it, I decided to remove one Ancient Shield Bearer, just because you have a more anti-aggro opener, which is more consistent. The Shield Bearer can feel clunky at times, and on top of it, if you don't hit the Khetoon enablers, it is just basically a dead card. So double Armorsmith feels very powerful and I really like him, especially with the Battle Rage. And yeah, the Battle Rage, because of the Armorsmiths, a powerful draw engine. You want to draw many cards of this deck just to find the Brawls, the Sleep with the Fishes, to take out aggressive decks. Beacon of Evil, just a staple enabler card. I played thousands of games of Khetoon Warrior, and Khetoon Warrior is one of my favorite decks. And from all the playing, I realized that the best would be to have 5 Khetoon enablers. So the double Beaconer and the double Disciple of Khetoon is the best. Usually I play the Khetoon's Chosen as a one-off, but since we play double Blood Razor and the Blood Razor has a terrible synergy with the Khetoon's Chosen, I decided to cut that. And it also makes then more sense to only play one Ancient Shield Bearer when you play only 4 enablers. So overall feels a little bit cleaner and I like it. Also double Blood Razor because of the Forge of Souls. Double Execute, I decided to cut the Shield Slams because I think it's necessary to run the Skulking Geist because of the insane popularity of Jade Druid on the ladder. The Skulking Geist doesn't like just out-win you the matchup, but it makes it at least winnable, and without it you just have no chance. I think it is a staple card to run on ladder at least right now, just because every day, again, I face around 50 to 60% Druid and most of them are Jade Druid, so around half I would say, half is aggro Druid still. And then to not just concede, you have to run the Skulking Geist. So double Vorax, a staple card, execute a core removal if you don't play Shield Slams. Yeah, Shield Slam was like a card that was fine, but once I removed Shield Slam, the Shield Slam Shield Block package from my deck, my win rate went up. I was struggling so much against aggro that, yeah, I don't know, it just feels better right now, because it's also situational. If you don't have the armor, it doesn't do anything. Forge of Souls, I like this card a lot. It is another card draw card, and against aggressive decks it helps you to draw multiple weapons, and against aggressive decks you need multiple weapons. One weapon is not enough. I really like that it gives you the consistency, and a 2 mana, draw 2 cards, draw 2 good cards is a very powerful card, so I really like the Forge of Souls, especially when you run 2 Blood Razors. Sleep with the Fishes, yeah, I used to run 1 in my Khetoon Warrior deck, just because of the small amount of whirlwind effects that you could run. And now that we have the Blood Razor and the Scourgelord Garrosh, I think 2 Sleep with the Fishes is appropriate. Acolyte of Pain got buffed with the curve. Playing the Acolyte of Pain on curve and then having the Blood Razor as a follow-up is really powerful. Very nice draw engine to help you draw all the Khetoon cards. Disciple of Khetoon, I think it's a staple card in Khetoon Warrior. It enables execute and yeah, great synergy overall with just killing minions and synergy with the weapon. Not so cool with the Blood Razor because you end up killing the body of Disciple of Khetoon, so you just try to avoid that from happening. Ravaging Ghoul, just a very powerful card for 3 mana, one of the best free drops in the game, and again, great synergy with the Armorsmiths, Battle Rages, Acolyte, Sleep with the Fishes, and so forth. Stonehill Defender, I decided against Pirate Warrior that I didn't have enough taunts in my deck, and Stonehill Defender is one of the best taunts you can run, And against control decks, you just pick the greediest option. And against aggressive decks, you just go for the most anti-aggro taunt option, which is very flexible, very nice. And it is like 2 taunts in 1 card at least. And the super cool extra bonus with Stonehill Defender is that you can utilize the Ketun cards. Yes, the Emperor Veclor and 5 mana Ketun taunt guy, whatever his name is very powerful in a Ketun warrior deck, so very nice card. Blood Racer, as I said, I like this, it's the new card which I was testing, was performing okay. Against control it's not very good. Against control you really want to maximize the draws from the Acolyte. It can feel very weird and clunky sometimes, because you don't really utilize the Whirlwind effect very efficiently oftentimes, but it still feels like a pretty decent card to run. Spellbreaker feels like a core card in the meta right now. It's very good versus Paladin, and if you're not facing Druid, there's a 30% chance you will face Murloc Paladin, and Murloc Paladin runs now the 5-drop, the Skelemancer, and they tend to buff it with the Spike-Ridge Steed, and that is just super powerful if you don't have the silence. Double Brawl, again, feels like a core card to run against Murloc Paladin and Aggro Druid. Skulking Geist, the only chance to give you a shot at winning against Jade Druid. One Shield Bearer, as I said, it feels a little bit too clunky. We have the Armorsmith for healing, so it's okay. Twin Emperor, just the best Ketun card that you can run besides Ketun. Scourgelord Garrosh, yeah, it's a good anti-aggro stabilization card. Gives you like a last resort healing push. And what is very cool is the permanent Whirlwind hero power effect. Gives you always an enabler for executes and sleep with the fishes. Because the way how you usually pick a Toon Warrior is you really don't want to use the ghouls just to take out minions with the weapons, because you always feel like in the back of your head, oh, I need this as an execute enabler or a sleep with the fishes enabler, because I have nothing besides the ghoul. And when you know you have the Garrosh in late game, you can just always use the ghouls, which is very nice, and the weapon from the Garrosh is very powerful, and obviously Ketun. So the deck feels like not that powerful versus control. You have like a reasonable amount of greed. You can beat Jade Druid, and you're very good against aggressive decks. And let's get into the rating of the archetype. I would rate this deck tier 4. The reason for that is obviously the insane amount of Jade Druids that are played on the ladder. Ketun Warrior was tier 3 in Ungoro, and I predicted it to be around tier 2.5 with all the buffs that Ketun Warrior got, especially with Deadman's Hand. I was playing around with Deadman's Hand a lot. The problem is really the meta is absolutely not fitting for that playstyle. The meta is literally Murloc Paladin 30% and 60% Druid, which is like 90% of the existing decks on the ladder. So people are playing Jade Druid and counter decks to Jade Druid. And Deadman's Hand is absolutely not fitting for that. If the meta would slow down, then this deck would become a better archetype for sure, because you have infinite resources. But as I said, Jade Druid is just so quick now with just drawing the entire deck. It completely out-tempos you. This is why Skulking Geist is not even a good counter-tech card, but it's like the only tech card we have. Murloc, all the aggressive decks got hugely buffed by Bonemare, and Bonemare is also a good card versus control warrior decks, because it's a split body and you usually have only shield, slam and execute to take out one minion at a time. And if you have 2 big minions on the board, and control warrior is famously enough to being bad at taking out multiple minions if you don't have access to brawl. So overall I would rate it below tier 3. Tier 3 would be playable and above 50% win rate. And I think it's very hard to get a 50% win rate with the deck, just because, yeah, of the amount of Jade Druids on the ladder. I still think this is like the strongest version I could think of right now, so you can play around with it as well if you like, and maybe you can come up with some cool stuff. I was testing a lot. If you are curious about seeing my whole process, you can check out my today's stream. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will show you some games.
At the one. Victory or death!
I would like to keep both. There's 4 enablers in my deck, and you usually need to find 2. And yeah, it's clunky, but I think it's necessary. So my Veclor gets activated by Shield Bearer. If it's Jade Druid, this is like... I mean, it's usually Jade Druid. I mean, it's like 50-50, 50-50, 50% Aggro Druid, 50% Jade Druid. Alright, please no buff. I'm not 100% sure if this is correct to keep both, but from my experience... No, no. At least I can kill the patches. Have the brawl in 5. That's nice, I can kill 2. 2 brawls, oh yeah. I would always make sure to activate the weapon, to use 1 charge, just to be able to use Sleep of the Fishes if you top deck it. Alright, that's bad. Kinda. So the broad is not good. Yeah, I kinda need... I would like to spell back on 6. Yeah, it's really bad if he goes for the Hydra. I don't have an execute yet. I need him to go living mana, then I have the counter. But if he goes Hydra, he has the counter to my hand. Oh, swipe face. Why is he playing so aggressive? Like really aggressive. I'm thinking if I can beat another Searcher. Nah, this would take out... Oh, that's nice.
Your magic shall not save me.
Yeah. I mean, Savager should not kill me. 1 damage off. He used patches as well. So. Oh baby.
The feast of souls begins now.
I wanna play around Mark of Sharash, so I'm gonna take out the Raven. And I don't attack this, so I don't die to a second swipe. And I save the weapon charge for living mana, because now I don't wanna brawl. And I have the Armorsmith. And the Garrosh. The meme lord. This is so good. Easy mode. And that's it for today's deck video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as always. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Also make sure to check out my stream. I'm streaming every day. Thanks so much once again and see you guys tomorrow. Peace!